I remember there was a time where I had this feeling of lack of confidence in myself, doubting. And I was having these feelings of something calling me, like there's something more to life. And I didn't have to necessarily survive this life. I had been moving out of a very important relationship in my life, and I had been teaching people nutrition, but I was evolving into a new part. There's lots of newness. So my sea legs were a little shaky. And I felt like I wasn't just writing a new chapter to the old book. I felt like a whole new book was being written. And so I was in the land of, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's funny because what had happened is a client that had taken one of our workshops before had started studying some stuff that she got very into, and her newness to it and her feeling that it was very right, and really it was right for her, but it was very right, and I was doing it wrong, and there was something wrong with me, and that, if only I'd use my powers to do this. And it shook my entire foundation. I thought to myself, wow, do I really not know what I'm doing? Should I get out of this? Should I stop doing this? Am I like off my gourd here? And I went up to be with my family. My parents had a little house on an island on a lake in Ontario. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to go out there and just kind of relax and try to read some books to inspire me, and even read the book that this woman was reading. And as I was reading the book, I got up at 5:30 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. And the sun was just getting up. And I was in the hammock rocking back and forth, and my big Bouvier black dog, Zach, was there. This dog barked at everything. I'm so glad it was quiet there because he barked at loons. He barked at everything. And so hammock, back and forth, reading the book. And in the book, I could feel the righteousness, even in the book, of, if you're not doing it this way, if you're not doing like this way, you're not doing it right. And I was trying to reframe it to try to have it make sense so that I could feel okay with myself again. And I thought, I got to get up. I got to get up. So I went down to the canoe, got out my paddle. It's my favorite thing to do. And the water was like glass that morning. And I got my dog Zach and put him in the front of the canoe to kind of balance out the front, right? And so I said, as I got in the canoe, because I was desperate at this point, I'm like, show me that I know what I know. Show me that this is my way. Show me that this path of physics and biophysics and fractals and how the universe works and the thriving operating system, and that everything can come to us, and that we're given to because we're that loved, and that I literally not only am doing this myself and having integrity to my heart, but also that everyone else can do the same. Like, just the pain and the dissonance was horrible. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do the thing that I love. That I'm going to get in the canoe at sunrise. I'm going to go on this glassy water. I'm going to take my dog, and I get in, and within a couple of minutes, an otter goes right across the front of the bow of the boat, and my dog doesn't bark. And at the time I didn't think anything, but then you'll see how this catches up. I'm like, why didn't Zach bark? It went right. He saw it. He was watching it. So then we keep paddling, and by the way, I had never seen an otter at Stony Lake. So then I keep paddling, and on my right, there are a lot of cottages. So you don't generally see wildlife because you just don't generally see it. I'd never seen a deer. I'd been at Stony Lake over 35 years at that point. I'd never seen a deer. I was on an island, so a small island, so it would make sense, but I'd never seen a deer. There were 5 deer to the right, bounding through a forest as I was canoeing along. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird, but beautiful. You know, I'm in awe. I'm like, and I wasn't connecting the request to be shown at the time. I keep going. Paddling. I come into this point where you go into a pond, like there's a narrow, and you go into this place where there's lily pads and those beautiful yellow and white lily pad flowers, lilies, water lilies. Oh, they're gorgeous. And there are 5 turtles on a stick. And then there's a water snake that passes in front of me. And then there's a beaver that walks up on the shore beside me. And I thought, okay, I am being shown now. Like, this is crazy, but am I? Maybe it's just early in the morning and my ego, my personality started doubting even being shown so drastically, because the whole time my dog's not barking. I get into the pond with the lily pads, and my dog's at the front of this big, majestic black Bouvier is at the front of the boat. Talk about owners looking like their dogs, right? And so then a huge heron, and my dog always barks at herons. This huge heron crosses in front of us, right in front of my dog's nose. He doesn't bark. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm almost giggling at this point. I mean, no one else is awake. It's 6:30 in the morning, no one's awake. And I keep paddling, and we're coming up on an island my mom calls Turtle Rock, and I don't know why she's calling it Turtle Rock. I have no idea what she's talking about. I've been by it a million times, haven't seen a single turtle. Right? I've seen turtles, but I haven't seen a single turtle there. And as we get closer, the same heron, I assume, swoops in front of my canoe, the bow of my canoe again. And this is the only time my dog Zach barked. And he left, like he's a 100-pound dog. He went woof, like really loud, right in front of Turtle Island. Well, it turns out there are somewhere between 500 and 1,000 turtles on this island that were lining the whole thing. I couldn't even see, I didn't realize that what I was looking at was not the stone, it's called Stony Lake, but I was looking at a sea of turtles on this big island. And the instant my dog, and I wouldn't have seen it, we would have gone right by it otherwise. But because my dog barked, all of the turtles started moving and ran into the water, making a amazing, incredible sound, and then plopping into the water, like plop, 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 like hundreds of times. I'm listening to this, and I am just giggling with glee, going, thank you. I get it. Thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. I smiled at Zach. I told him what a good boy he is. And I paddled, I was halfway point at that Turtle Island is halfway. So the rest of the way I paddled home, and with this big smile on my face, knowing that I was willing to be shown, and that the validation of our ability to be given to, our ability to know what we know, our ability to know our groove. I really rarely doubted myself after that experience. And, you know, it's one of those experiences where my deepened knowing makes me so excited to build bridges for others to their deeper knowing, that they just know that they know, that that little heart's calling is not to be ignored, that in fact, there is a way to get back to, there are experiential exercises that get you back to, and get me back to constantly, this place of pure clarity, that I'm on my path. I want to give you the punchline to the story though. 2 weeks later, that very woman who'd been following this sort of dogmatic approach to life that was opening doors. It's always good, you know, contrast and clarity and affirmation, you know, is all that in that book for her. But she knew that it wasn't her way. She was desperately trying to find a way. And by name, she asked for me. When I went to my friend Susie's clinic, and she said, I would like Jennifer to do some work with me. And so the full circle is she literally asked for me by name just a few weeks later, saying, I really got to find my way back to my soul. And she didn't know what had happened. So, you know, these stories are under the category of you can't make this stuff up. But what if the miraculous could just become normal? And for me, it's supposed to be. That way of living, actually, if you look at that painting, that way of living, that painting is by Sue Crawford. That way of living is how we're designed. And I can't imagine my life any other way than going deeper into that way of living and being able to expand it, but also to bring other people who are in their doubts or want to know what they know or want to follow that heart's calling to be able to do the same. So grateful. That's why I have such a deep connection to nature. I'm just so grateful. Grateful that I know that I'm just a normal person and that can happen for me, and it can happen, and that those evolutions can happen for all of us deliberately, making miracles normal. Yeah, I call that a state of embodiment. So anyways, that is one of my favorite stories of all time. And yeah, just reminiscing is such an important time in my life that catalyzed everything that we do now, including the upcoming embodiment workshop, so people can live in that level of flow. All right. Wherever you are, have a great rest of your day.